All right, so this is the continuation of your 6.5 notes. We're starting at example 4. All right, we're going to do factoring by grouping. All right, factoring by grouping. All right, so factoring by grouping means that you do exactly that. You group. So we're going to group these first two terms together with set of parentheses, and then we're going to group the last two terms with a set of parentheses. Remember, the last two terms includes this sign. All right, so now what we do is we look at the first two terms and we say, okay, what can I factor out of these? What's the common factor? In this case, it's x squared. So write down the x squared, and then I divide each one of these by it. And now we'll put that in the parentheses. Well, x cubed divided by x squared leaves us with x. Bring your sign down. X squared divided by x squared, they cancel out, so it leaves me with just a 2. All right, so now I have an x minus 2 in this set of parentheses. So now I got to figure out, what do I factor out of this that's going to give me an x minus 2? Well, what do we factor out of this that's going to just give us an x? Well, let's get rid of this negative 16. So that's what we're going to factor out of it. So we factor that negative 16 out, and it does leave us with x minus 2. All right, it's important. This has to be the same as this, because what we're going to do now is sort of combine like terms. The two that are out front, this one gets put with the one in the middle here. So we get x squared minus 16, and then we just bring down one of the x minus 2's. All right, now to factor this out completely, we're not done, because we see we got the difference of two squares here. So this we can factor out to x plus 4 times x minus 4, and then bring down our x minus 2. And now it's factored out completely. All right, so if it asks you to factor it out completely, make sure you do that. All right, going to B, again, factor by grouping. We group our first two together, and then we group our back two together. The front ones, okay, we say, okay, what do I factor out of this? Or what can I factor out of it? And the answer is x squared. So we factor that x squared out, we write it out front. Divide each one of these by x squared. So x cubed divided by x squared leaves with x. Bring down the sign, and then divide this one by x squared, and they cancel out, so it leaves us with 4. So now we say, okay, what do I factor out of this to get x plus 4? What do I factor out of this that leaves me with x plus 4? And the answer is a negative 36, because we got to get rid of this. We want this to just be an x, so we got to divide it by a negative 36. And when we divide this by negative 36, it leaves us with x. We divide this by negative 36, it leaves us with a positive 4 or plus 4. All right, so again, making sure they're the same. So now we bring what's in the front with what's in the front here, group them together, x squared minus 36, and then x plus 4. And again, we have the difference of two squares. Don't forget about that. Factoring out completely means you factor everything out. So this we can factor out to x plus 6 times x minus 6 times our x plus 4. All right? All right, so you have this checkpoint to do, so go ahead and do the checkpoint. All right, I'll give you the answers for it later on. We're going to skip example 5. All right, we're just going to skip that one. We're going to go on to our last example, example 6. All right, and we are going to solve this by factoring. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 2x, subtract 2x. Now we put them in order. So I got x cubed minus 6x squared minus 2x plus 12 equals 0. All right, now we're going to factor this. Now it has 4 terms. So anytime we see these 4 terms, think of factoring by grouping. So group the first two, group the back two. First two, I can factor an x squared out. When I do that, it leaves me with x minus 6. And then the back, I can factor out a negative 2. And that leaves me with x minus 6. When I divide that by a negative 2 and that by a negative 2, right? I get that equals 0. Now I group what's in front. So now I have x squared minus 2, and then an x minus 6. All right, so now we just have to finish it off, because again, we're solving because it's equal to 0. we can't factor this out any further, so I'm just going to set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 2 equals 0. Well, we would add 2, get x squared equals 2, and then we square root. Don't forget, when we square root in x squared, we got to put plus minus on the other side. So on this side, we get x equals plus or minus the square root of 2. And then we take our x minus 6, set that equal to 0, add 6 to both sides, and we get x equals 6. So we get 3 answers there. We get x equals 6, x equals a positive square root 2, and x equals a negative square root 2. All right? So you're not going to do the first one. You're not going to do the second one. Just do the third one. All right? In your checkpoint. Just do that third one. It's just like the example we just did. All right? And then I will send you a homework assignment.